or a Conor or a Nate at this moment, I'm going to keep whipping ass until I get to that point.
Well, after George is beaten right now, George is in an amazing position, right?
Yeah.
George beats Bisping. If he wanted to, and he dropped the title, but if he wanted to come back and fight you for the welterweight title, that's a legitimate super fight right there. I mean, that makes a lot of sense,
You think
particularly
George
coming
me?
off of his big fight. You don't think he does? Look, you tell me.
You think George want to fight
Look
me?
at your face.
George had the
tell
chance.
me.
George had the chance to fight me before Bisping. He chose to fight Bisping.
Well, maybe he felt like that was a better fight for him to come back with.
It was definitely a better fight because if he would have came back against me looking like that, George would have been right back in retirement. He did not look great. Bisping did not look great. One thing that helped George in that fight, his experience. He loosened up. He was a little uptight. You know, he hadn't been in the octagon, 4 years almost?
A little over 2. Yeah, a little over 3, right?
It was more than that,
Was
right?
it 4?
It was almost 4. It wasn't quite 4. It was almost 4. Because I fought November. UFC. It was the 25th anniversary.
No, I think you're right. I think it was like 4.
Because I fought
4
Koscheck
years.
on that card.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
That's a long ass time.
So for him to not fight that long, I don't care how much you train. Your ass ain't in a fight. You don't have a training camp. Focus on a person. It's tough. So when he came back, I saw the experience kick in. He relaxed a little bit. That's when he landed a left hook. Had he not relaxed, I mean, who knows what would have happened? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. It was it was interesting because Bisping was tight, and I expected him to be looser.
Bisping doesn't have the. I mean, he's not guys out, but he's not a guy that you're thinking of like a Rumble or Ngannou or myself or somebody,
a one-shot
or
guy.
Stevens, Jeremy Stevens, somebody that's going to touch you and it's over with. So with that said, he's a person that's going to be volume. He's going to be in your face, great conditioning. He's very durable, and George had to make that adjustment. He said, all right, I'm going to be an athlete on this guy. Let me fake him out. Let me get him thinking about the shot. I took him down twice. Let me get him thinking about it. Level change, come up, left hook. Very smart move. And that's something that the experience of being a champion allowed him to do.
Well, there was some talk about him fighting Conor, but I didn't hear any of that from the official people.
Yeah.
And him fighting Conor at 170 pounds would have been fascinating. It's in terms of it's a terrible matchup for Conor.
Yeah.
In terms of just physicality.
But once again, risk and reward. What happens if you lose to the greatest welterweight of all time?
Yeah.
People gonna torture him about it?
Yeah, but Conor doesn't want to lose another fight right now. This is not a good time, especially in his division. There's so much talent. Right now, at 155
you think he want to see Khabib right now?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I want to see.
You think he
Tony?
You think,
what about
you think,
Tony?
I mean, Tony's if I was Conor, which I'm not, if I had to pick the fight, they both are going to be. I mean, Khabib might be a bigger draw because you got a huge 140-some million people in Russia. Might be a bigger draw, but they both are very annoying fights.
Very dangerous fights.
Dangerous. Tony Ferguson, it don't take much for him to find a way to get around your neck and choke you. He
doesn't get tired.
He doesn't get tired. He looks like he's losing fights, and he don't care. His striking is very awkward. He can really do what Nate Diaz did to Conor.
Yeah.
And Nate Diaz, baffled him like, damn, I hit you with everything. You still around. Then Conor went for the damn shot. The same thing's going to happen if you do that to Tony. Tony's going to submit him.
Here's my prediction. My prediction, Conor doesn't fight for a while.
You watch those two fight.
They strip him. They strip Conor.
He comes fight me.
Habib and Tony fight for the world title. For you, you're in a situation. I don't think either one of those guys are in the cards right now for you. But for you, who
don't
do you
try
see
to mess
at
up my
170?
dreams.
Well, what's your dream? Tell
You know
me
what? To
your
be
dream is.
honest, is my dream was to really. I wanted to fight George, and
That's still possible.
I feel like if I fought George, I can legitimately say I'm the best welterweight of all time if I beat him.
It's still possible. George
I'm
hasn't
with it.
retired.
I'm
Has
with
he
it,
said
but
anything about you?
he asked one time on a Fox Q&A where he was gonna so Tyrone, if you fought, what would be your game plan? If you fought us, but they got X'd out because they didn't want to get all the fans pumped up that we were fighting.
Why wouldn't they? Do you think they're plotting against you? See it? I see it in your face.
Joe, he is not gonna do that to me. I am too bright, mother. You're not going. You want me to be like the people who are against me?
Listen, I want you to just be focused.
You want me to be real?
Yeah, sure.
You want me to be real?
Sure.
Do I think that the people want to see me lose? No, I don't think they want to see me lose. Do I think that sometimes I'm a pain in the ass? Yeah, I am. But in business, at one point in any business, does not the person that's doing the business not want their best interest. So if I'm an athlete and I'm looking out for my best interest and I'm trying to put myself in a position where, I can fight, become a legend, become a Hall of Famer. I should do that. If I want to be paid appropriately, I should do that. In our sport, because of the way the UFC started, we the damn UFC, you do what we say, and that's it. No questions. You fight who we want to fight. You get paid who we want to get paid, and that's it. And then what happened? The specialists, the one-trick ponies, stopped. Then collegiate athletes start getting in there, college wrestlers. You know, Kenny Florian's the goddamn, almost thinking about being a doctor at one point. So now you got intelligent people coming into the sport. They just so happen to be businessmen, entrepreneurs. So now I'm looking at market value. I'm seeing what these motherfuckers are making. And guess what? I should be making this if they're making that. If I'm the champion and this person's doing this, I should do that. Knowing what everybody's making, knowing all the numbers, I want to be at least fair. I don't ask for no crazy. I don't ask for no 15 million and all that other stuff. So if me doing that makes me become difficult, then I guess I'm just a little bit difficult.
Okay, but let me look at it from their perspective. What they look at in terms of what an athlete is worth is like how much are they bringing in? Like what kind of pay-per-view buys are you getting?
How much was George bringing in when he first started fighting?
Well, he wasn't making nearly as much money back then.
But how much was he? Everybody has to start a certain way. You can't throw you out and say, okay, fight Wonder Boy, UFC, blah, blah, blah. And if you don't do you did 300,000 buys. You're not a draw. Okay, how was I promoted as a champion?
Okay, this is a long, circuitous sort of a conversation if we continue along this way. But what I'm trying to say is there is a
fancy word.
There's a way.
$15 word.
It's like a circular. It's sort of a thing. You're going to keep circling back around to it. What I think is there's a way for if you want to make a big super fight, like if George St Pierre really wanted to make a big super fight and the UFC wanted to make a big superstar out of you, that's the fight. Because one of two things happens. Either he beats you and he's even bigger than ever.
Yeah.
Or you beat him and you become bigger than ever.
Let's do it.
That's what I'm saying.
There's no other fight that makes sense.
But that makes sense. No one's trying to stop that from happening. When the UFC is not willing to pay a certain amount of money, it's because they don't think they're going to get a certain amount of money. It's not because they're trying to avoid getting paid. If they thought that you could be some enormous superstar and they could make Conor McGregor type money from you, they would never say, we don't want to do that because we don't want to give Tyron power. They don't think like that. Yeah. They think like they're numbers people. They're trying to make pay-per-view buys. And if you only sold 300,000 pay-per-view buys because of the Wonder Boy fight, there's not much they can do about that. I mean, it's not whether or not you are promoted a certain way as a fighter. It's like that fight for someone like me is fascinating. But for the average fucking Johnny Lunchbox, I want to see blood type person, that's not.
But the pay-per-views are bought before the fight takes place.
Right, but they knew the style. They knew the style. They knew the matchup, and especially the second time you guys fought.
It was the fight of the night on the biggest card of UFC history, UFC 205 in Madison Square Garden. According to them, it was the best fight of the entire card. So if that was the best fight and it was fight of the night,
is that because you got the award of fight of the night?
Yeah,
yeah. That's just so you can get a bonus, though, right? I mean, and when you look at the fights in terms of like, you could have a card where there's a lot of fights that aren't entirely significant, and that would be the fight of the night. I don't think there's anything wrong with that fight. I've told you before, I like that fight. When are you looking to defend the belt again?
You know, I can probably fight. April will be kind of pushing it, but May, June, July is usually a big card.
The big July 4th card.
I'll probably try to wait to then.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
right?
I'll probably wait to then.
And that's probably like more
Tyrone Woodley and George St Pierre fighting main event. July, whatever the hell weekend.
July 4th weekend. Right?
It used to be an international fight, yeah.
That's the big
That would
one.
be, I mean, that's where I have the biggest chance to get a big fight.
That's what I want. If I was your manager, I'd be saying that's what we got to do, Tyron.
So July probably.
Hang in there.
I mean, there's no fight in between that's going to make sense for me to do.
Has George say he's retired or he's not retired? What did he do? He just gave up the belt, right?
George, I don't want to speak for George because I like George.
I like him too.
So I don't want to speak for him, but George is smart. He plays the fact that I don't really speak English that well. Yeah, motherfucker smart. He know what he's doing. Bisping was the right fight. Okay, think about it. Bisping, according to all the middleweights, wasn't really the best middleweight. Everybody wanted to fight Bisping.
Right.
So if George is going to go up fighting for another belt, another legendary move, fight a guy that does not have the punching power, maybe cannot take him down, maybe cannot stop the takedown. And for once, George probably had a punching power advantage against Bisping. So with that said, it made a lot of sense for him to do that.
They also had a lot of history training together. That was a big part of it.
Yeah.
In George's eyes, he was very successful against him in training. Yeah.
But he was kind of worried about the size though.
George
was.
Yeah.
He was like, hey, so how much you think Bisping weigh? I'm like, are you fucking serious? Are you like really worried about that? Like,
well, there was talk about you fighting Bisping at one time. I know you guys
was with it.
Got back and forth.
I weigh like 205 right now. I'm good. I'm good to fight at middleweight. I actually offered to fight George at middleweight and give up my belt at welterweight and just fight him. If I lose the fucking middleweight title, then I lost my belt and now I'm fucking Sam Sausage Head. You know, I get thrown to the bottom of the deck. But when you make that kind of ballsy, say, hey, I'll fight him at middleweight and I'll give my belt up. If that fight doesn't happen at that point, I kind of feel like somebody might not want to fight.
Well, it's hard to say, right? Because he only fought once in 4 years, and there's no timetable in his return and no thought whatsoever. There's a lot of weirdness in this sport right now, and so much rests on January 20th. So much rests on Ngannou versus Stipe, because I think that fight is going to be gigantic for the sport.
It's going to be gigantic for the sport, and then I think Stipe is used to overly working and over. You know what I mean? He had that spot where he was like, man, when am I ever going to get my shot? And he finally got it. Took advantage of it. I was in a similar situation where I'm like, when am I going to get my shot? Got it. Took advantage of it. Ngannou has very scary.
He's so scary.
He don't knock you out regular. That's the thing. He don't hit you and you fall out. He hits you and everybody, oh they wondering if you alive still.
It's funny, you're in my thoughts. No, back up. You're not in my thoughts at all.